Welcome to Planted. My name is Ian. This is my gardening channel. Now in this video, it is specifically for new gardeners. If you're a new gardener and you find yourself drawn to all sorts of books and tips and tricks and videos, this is for you. I'm going to show you the easiest way to take cuttings. Now this is a Salvia that I overwintered. It's been featured in earlier videos, and I'm going to turn it from this into this. Now the reason this is overgrown is that it was dug up last year. It's come through the winter in my little frost-free greenhouse, and what happens is that it'll put out lots of growth really early on, and it's tempting to start taking cuttings then, and I'm talking late January, early February. We're coming to the end of March now, and as you can see, it's completely misshaped. It's even got a branch on it that's collapsed because it's got too much crown, there's too much head. So what we have to do is give it a rather swift haircut. And we're doing a number of things here. The first is we're roughly improving the plant shape. We are reducing the amount of water it needs because we've got an awful lot less foliage. So this is the plant that will get put out in the garden late April, probably sometime in May. And we'll go back and give that a bit more of a haircut, but that's all I need. We've got 6 weeks or so for this to put out more growth and look beautiful. There's no way I could keep all the growth that was on it and have the plant look good. It would just collapse. So this is step one, and this is really easy for anyone to do. It's prune back a plant that you've overwintered and let it put on nice fresh growth. So we'll set that aside. Now what I have in front of me is all this cutting material, and there's a huge amount of it. But what I need to impress upon you is that I'm going to take 5 cuttings. That's all I need. I want 5 little plants, and you can use a takeout dish like this. You can see it's got little holes already in it. It's typically served that way. We're going to keep it the same way. And we'll put our little cuttings inside. You must make sure that it can drain. Or you can take a dish like this, drill holes in it, and you can grow plants in there. You don't need special equipment, that's what I'm trying to say. Having said that, this is absolutely vital. This is a little water sprayer. I've tried the really cheap ones, they're not worth having. These do very well. Remember, the plant's not going to have any roots on it, so it can't take up water for it to evaporate. And this is the best way to add a little bit of water without completely making the plant waterlogged. So more about that in a moment. So let's look at what is the ideal cutting. That's the beautiful colour flower that we're going to be getting. And I can already see the cutting that I want. You might think, well, that is way too small, but for our purpose, it's just great. We're going to cut there, and cut there. That would be a flower bud, which we don't want, so we're going to pinch that out. We're also going to cut these leaves, and that is the perfect size. But the reason I say that is that we want this to be the correct size to be in our little takeout food container. We don't want the top of the plant touching the top of the box, so that will be just fine. So I'm going to quickly take 5 more of those. This is a real-time video of me taking 5 or 6 cuttings, and from start to finish it takes about 12 minutes. And I wanted to share with you that this is not a long and laborious project. If you'd like a lot more detail about where to cut, how to cut, go into the archives on the Planted YouTube channel and look up the selection of propagation, and you'll find all the tips and tricks you want about this very planting and propagating technique. They might say, why am I cutting off the leaves? We want the plant to slow down. If we have a big thick leaf, it'll dry out really quickly. So by trimming the leaves, the roots will come from here, and then the plant is going to be in a more stable state for a longer period of time. So that's our cuttings. That is all we need for this little project. All of this is garbage. Don't need it. So we'll just put that to one side. So I mentioned that we've got holes in the bottom. This is very, very important. And the nice thing with this is that you've got your ready-made lid. This helps keep the growing medium at a constant moisture and prevents the plants from drying out. And I've just said to you, don't get them too wet, but you don't want them to dry out either. This is a way to do it. Now, when you get your growing medium, it might be really dry. So you want to put a little bit in the bottom and spray it. What we want to do is load up this growing medium with water. Remember, it's a storage device. That's all it is. Now this plant is Salvia. There's a lot of different Salvias out there. Some are well worth saving. Some you can readily buy, and I don't know that they're that special. This one is, because I love the colour. And I can't remember the variety of this. I've grown Amistad before, but I know it's not that. But this is absolutely well worth growing. Salvia are a great plant to practice on. If you've never done cuttings before, go and buy yourself the Salvia and take a few cuttings. Now I know that I've got that nice and moist. See how it's not dripping out the bottom? I don't want it to be dripping out the bottom. Now you can use a rooting hormone, and there's videos in the library that show you how you just dip this in powder, tap it, the powder falls off, there's a little bit left, and it really helps plants get going. Salvia, they don't need that. I have high expectations that these will all grow. When you put it in, you don't really want to be ramming soil inside the stem or growing medium inside the stem. We've got 5 cuttings with the back of a pencil. Whatever your chosen method is, just make 5 equal spaced little holes. Now you'll see that this was the small one, and that is the correct height. I've got a couple here that I know are too big, but I want to demonstrate to you how they will touch the top of the lid. Make sure that they are firm. You don't want to squeeze them, but you do want to make sure that they're in contact. Now, one of the tricks is that you can actually put your cutting on an angle. It's not laid down, but it will give you more space if that's what you need. There. This little spraying right now is really important. These plants had the growth, had the water coming from them, from the roots of the mother plant. Those roots have been severed, and now it's got no source of, no ability to uptake water. So this lid just comes over. Now I don't close it all the way, it's just resting. If you did snap it shut, you'd have to have holes in the top to help with ventilation. But I'm just going to leave it like that. And that is my little propagator. Now you can put this on a windowsill, you can put this, you want it out of direct sunshine. And the plant, if you think of it this way, if you wake up in the morning, you don't wake up and just suddenly get out of bed. You might if you're late. The point I'm trying to make is that these plants have got to acclimate to their environment before they can start putting out roots. That might take a day or two. When you jump out of bed and you're half asleep, you start to make mistakes. We don't want these plants to get too hot, too bright, too soon. If you can keep them at anywhere between 60 on the low end and maybe 75 to 80 on the high end, that'll be just fine. We want them to gradually take on this new environment. So if you were to put these on a radiator, they would get too hot and they would essentially cook. You could put them on there for 10 minutes, warm them up and take it off, but then you might need to be reminded to put them back on again. This is going to go into my warmer greenhouse, and we'll follow these later. I want to do one more creation for you. Here's another takeout dish. I drilled holes in the bottom of that, and you can see that it's actually split in places. It really doesn't matter. You must make sure that this doesn't hold water. We can put our organic matter in there, our growing medium. And if you do cuttings and seeds, you want it to be first time use. You don't want to be reusing something that you had in a previous container. We're going to add some water. And you might think that this is a very large pot, and you'd be right, but we're going to put in it this larger seedling. You see how it's taller? Pinch off the side shoots, they will regenerate. Cut back these shoots. See, that's much bigger. Now what I want to do is put that in the center at a slight angle, and then we've got this that goes on top. And then we have another little plant that will put out roots. Now, frequently I will come along and take the top off and inspect it. And it might be that as soon as I start to know it's growing, this will be removed. But in the meantime, I just want this to be there to ensure that I get high humidity. So there's one tray with one seedling in it, and another tray with 5 in. And I had the plant, I had the dishes, I have to buy the growing medium, but that's it. I've got myself what will be 6 little salvia cuttings. So I'm very happy about that. But let's just have a recap what we've done. This is the mother plant, and now because I've cut this back, this will branch out from all of these locations. You can see the white fly and salvia go together like chocolate and coffee. You've got to get a control of that before it takes over the greenhouse. So this got pruned. It would be tempting to go through here and make 200 cuttings. You don't need them. All you need for your own personal use is 4 or 5 cuttings, and they'll grow just beautifully. So that's what we've done. That's it. Anybody can do this. Anybody can take cuttings. I would encourage you to practice on plants like salvia are very easy, geraniums are very easy, fuchsia are very easy. A whole range of them. Just take this little stem, cut it below a shoot, cut it above a shoot, trim the roots, stick it in, spray it, and you're all set. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.